the movie Major League and our analysis of it and how it relates to management themes. So this is our team. I'm Megan Kirkbride.
I am Johnny Bonker.
I'm Dan Cannon.
I'm Kiera Maringer.
I'm James McCauley.
And I am Ananya Shah. So our agenda for today is that we would be relating Major League, the movie, to management themes that we learned in class. So we would be talking about communication, managing conflict, motivation, leadership, power and influence, along with ethics, group and teams, and diversity. Now James would talk about communication.
One of the most important management themes shown in the Major League movie was the use of communication by many of the characters. One of the best communicators in the movie was Coach Lou Brown. Lou often zapped the team with energy to motivate and bring them together. One major scene that this was shown in was when he created a cutout of Rachel Phelps. Every game that the team won, he would remove a piece of the clothing of the cutout. This showed that Coach Lou Brown knew his audience and created a common purpose and goal for the team to achieve. In contrast, Rachel Phelps was a sapper. All she did was discourage and diminish the players and staff. She sapped their energy through tactics of abuse and threatening actions. Coach was a good transmitter and listened to his players through the use of WIIFT, what's in it for them. Coach used other instances of good communication, especially with players who felt frustrated. He remained firm and strong in his beliefs and constantly gave them motivation and uplifted them when they were down. Now I'm going to talk about managing conflict. Management of conflict was another theme shown throughout the movie. The main areas of conflict were between Dorn and Vaughn, as from the beginning they were at odds with each other from difference of perspective, and especially at the end of the movie, as Dorn's wife slept with Vaughn, which caused their conflict to become heightened. At this point, it seemed in that final game that when Vaughn came in and Dorn went up to him, that their problems would cause a fight. But instead, Dorn and Vaughn were able to manage their own internal conflict and persevere. Another main area of conflict was between Rachel Phelps and the whole team. This was shown throughout the movie, as Phelps would often take away resources needed, as she thought that this would discourage the players from performing well. The players were able to flip this and use it as functional conflict in order to become productive and produce a positive outcome. And then the final instance of conflict was between Dorn and Taylor, as Taylor went to Dorn's house to realign him with the team's values and show him that his selfish play and tanking was hurting the team as a whole. Now Kiera will talk to you about motivation.
So there were a couple main drivers of motivation that the team had throughout the movie. One was Rachel Phelps, the owner's agenda. So at the very beginning of the movie, she was setting out to tank this team. She really didn't like the Cleveland area. She was hoping to be able to relocate the team to Miami so that she herself could also move. And in order to do so, she needed the team to be under a certain attendance rate. And therefore, she needed the team to be even worse than they were. So she was hoping that by setting up a team of rookies, of people that were retired, and just a lot of people that she felt didn't have a strong talent set or skill set for baseball, she figured that that would help her to reach this goal. And once the team was aware of this, the coach found out and was able to relay this message to the rest of the team. And the team was able to use it as motivation. And I think that can be said for a lot of different things. When someone doesn't necessarily expect the best in you, a lot of times people will take that and they are able to then use it to motivate themselves to prove you wrong or to show you that they're more than what you think they are. So the team used her negative agenda to show that they're a lot more than what she thought. And then it also was a huge career opportunity for a lot of them. Most of the players were rookies that just didn't have time to show themselves to the public and to get maybe recognition from other teams that they needed. And then a lot of them were retired and maybe just didn't leave the league in the right way. Maybe they didn't have the best reputation. So for a lot of them, it was an opportunity to prove themselves to the public and to all their fans. So we related this to the hierarchy of needs by Maslow, and the top tier of this hierarchy is self-actualization, which is huge for this team because a lot of them, again, didn't really feel like they left a mark on baseball or with their reputation like they should have. So a lot of them were able to use this to get to that point. And then it also relates to the need theory by McClelland. And this is, again, the players, they had a need for achievement just to perform well, and also affiliation to be a part of something great, like a team that was just had a lot of camaraderie. And then for Rachel Phelps, she had a need for power. So she really wanted to take charge of this team and kind of run it into the ground so that she could do with it as she pleased. So now Johnny is going to talk to you guys about leadership.
All right, cool. So there were many examples throughout the movie of great leadership, and specifically with leadership, there was a lot shown through the coach, Lou Brown. When he was coaching, he would always be using the manager's rule, which is listen first and talk last, when he was dealing with helping out any of his players. One good example of this was when Vaughn had a prank pulled on him when he thought he was cut from the team, and he went back into the office and he was furious, looking for Coach, and he stormed in there really mad and upset and started to, really speak all of his anger and frustration and all of his aggressions to Coach Lou Brown. But what Coach did that was really great was, instead of interrupting or arguing back with Vaughn, he just let him get all of that anger out and all the aggression out of his system, and he just really listened to him as the coach truly should. And then Vaughn was able to feel a lot better, and Coach was able to understand where his players were coming from with all their different situations and frustrations. So with that, like, he was never mainly focused on winning for the team. He really was focused on the team being a true together team as a core, and making sure that everyone felt included, and that everybody was heard, just like Vaughn was. So his leadership style ended up being a really key component as to why the team had their overall successes. And he was a huge part of why people were able to feel comfortable being themselves and unite together as a team. So now that we finished talking about the leadership, Megan's going to talk about the power and influence and ethics.
So, power and influence and ethics was a really prevalent theme throughout the movie, especially with Rachel Phelps. As Kira mentioned before, she was trying to sabotage the team from the very beginning, and there was a couple different concepts that we learned that relates to her motivation and just kind of why she did what she did. So, McClellan's theory, the need for power, was definitely present with what she was trying to do, but eventually, it led to this coercive power that the team used as their motivation to succeed. So this power led to resistance among the team. And she also displayed Machiavellianism, which is basically that the ends justify the means. So her power and her goal towards getting the team to lose and creating this new team that she wanted to make her money. It's just the ends justify the means. She wanted her goal and she didn't care about the team or their goals. Um, and then there's also barriers to good decision making and ethical decision making. So her overconfidence was eventually what led to the demise of her, and her negative power and influence and poor ethical decision making led to her demise and the motivation for the team to succeed. And so now that we've talked about power, influence, and ethics, Ananya is going to talk about groups and teams.
So throughout the movie, we saw various stages of good group development process. So the first stage, that is forming. So this is the ice breaking stage, and we saw this when the coach was selecting the team, and we also saw how the team was not sure about their own capabilities, and also how basically everyone did not know whether they fit into the team or not. Then we also saw storming, which is the second stage of group development process, where we saw little conflicts between the character of Charlie Sheen, that is Ricky Vaughn, and Roger Dorn. And also the coaches' ideas were being tested, the policies were being tested, and basically it was being determined whether the coaches made the right choice selecting the people that they did. Then we come to norming. So Taylor emerged as the true leader of the team because he solved conflicts between the team, such as the scene where Taylor went to Roger Dorn's house and he basically told him that you have to care about the team as a whole and not just about yourself. And we also saw the us feeling against the owner and how they decided to win the whole league just to prove the owner wrong. And lastly, we saw performing stage where the team started winning their matches in order to qualify for the finals. And they finally performed well in the finals and ended up winning the whole league, which no one really expected in the beginning. Now that we are done with groups and teams, Dan would like to talk to you guys about diversity.
Okay, so yeah, personally, I think diversity was one of the most important and most frequently seen topics in this movie. I think the most obvious depiction of that was the players that were on that team, just because of their vast differences in age, like location, where they came from, and the background. And having these large differences between all the players and the coaches posed a big challenge for the entire organization. The owner did this intentionally to set them up for failure. She had like ulterior motives as to like why she wanted them to do poorly. And unifying the team and motivating them to achieve the common goal of winning was probably the most challenging task for the coach because of how different each person was on this team and how inexperienced they were. And also, since the team and its staff was so diverse, this was a big challenge for the owner as well, just because she misjudged them from the start. And she kind of thought that like since they were so different that they wouldn't work well together, but sometimes that diversity can build a stronger team just because of all the different backgrounds that the team members have. And the movie does a very, very effective job of depicting like building a prosperous environment. Even if people don't fit well together from the jump, they could always work together and build a strong team. And then we just wanted to also thank you for your time and consideration. We hope that you learned a lot from our analysis of various class topics from the movie Major League. Thank you.